Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gershwan, and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about the psyker, as we get into an overview of what it's like to live in the Adeptus Astra Telepathica. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K content every 12 hours. And of course, if you have any suggestions for topics of Warhammer 40K, just comment down below. And don't forget to share this with your friends if you find it interesting. But with that said, let's get into 40 facts on the Adeptus Astra Telepathica. Psykers are a vital part of the Imperium, linking its worlds together, aiding its soldiers in battle, and guiding its ships across the stars. They are also dangerous for the very gift that allows them to draw power from the warp. That otherworldly realm that exists beneath reality can also make them conduits for its unholy power and gateways for demons. An untrained psyker can bring doom upon an entire world if its abilities are not kept in check. The Imperium has a rigid structure in place to watch for any who display even a hint of psychic talent and remove them from society, usually through force. Once in custody, they are trained to serve the Emperor, or if they prove too unstable, destroyed for the good of mankind. The Adeptus Astra Telepathica oversees psykers within the Imperium, scouring the galaxy for new psykers, and then examining and training their catches. Those that are not worthy to live must instead serve the Emperor directly, their life energies sustaining his continued existence for one more day. It is the cruel jest of the psyker that even though he acts to protect the Imperium, his very existence is a threat, and his mere presence draws the attentions of the denizens within the warp. But the Imperium understands the importance of using psykers. They can be found at every level of command, and on nearly every world, but psykers forever remain apart from the rest of humanity, no matter how successful they might be, living with a constant fear of death, often at the hands of one's allies, or the terror of demonic possession, frays all but the hardest of minds. Thus their lives are one of constant stress. Only the strongest can hope to survive against years of attack from the warp each time they attempt to use their powers. To ensure the Imperium's safety, the Adeptus Astra Telepathica oversees the recruitment of these dangerous individuals. Its fleet of black ships travel endlessly from world to world, gathering anyone who shows the taint of psychic talent to take them back to Terra for testing. Only a fraction of those taken survive to serve in the Adeptus Astra Telepathica. Most are sacrificed to sustain the Emperor, perhaps the most potent psykers ever known. Others fall during their training, their minds or bodies torn asunder by the creatures of the warp, or executed should their powers prove too uncontrollable or their minds unsuitable. Only after years of rigorous schooling in the Scholastia Psychana, the Adeptus Astra Telepathica's training facilities, are they deemed fit to serve the Imperium, either amongst its armies or as part of a great network of astropaths conveying messages across the stars. The cycle often repeats itself, and those psykers that become sanctioned to serve within the ranks of the Adeptus Astra Telepathica sometimes go on to work for the black ships. Others become instructors, imparting their knowledge to new generations of psykers. Those who do not serve the Adeptus Astra Telepathica directly find themselves fulfilling duties elsewhere, as there is always demand for sanctioned psykers. This could be fighting in mankind's constant wars, turning their powers against the foes of the Emperor. Alternatively, they might find relative safety, enclosed in the palaces of a planetary governor, a novelty for the idle nobility as they send and receive messages for their masters. No matter where they live, they are always viewed with suspicion and fear. Often this mistrust comes most strongly from their fellow psykers, for all psykers are but one faltering mental defense away from allowing the horrors of the warp into reality. Psykers are in reality mutants, a divergent of the human evolutionary process into something different and often terrifying. They have lived their whole lives with this taint, while the Imperium exploits and uses their unique abilities. As conduits to the warp, they have also lived in constant fear of possession, or of death, at the hands of the terrible denizens of that unholy place. Their earlier lives may have been filled with unexplained accidents or mental breakdowns, and at some point, discovery and capture. Many do not live long enough to be discovered, destroying themselves in bursts of uncontrolled power. Untold others are never detected in cold, a constant worry within the Adeptus Astra Telepathica and the Inquisition. On Terra, there is a painful process of sanctioning, where they are tested, branded, and broken to serve the will of the Emperor. Most are unfit for continued existence, and their service ends as their energies are used to fuel the Emperor's life force and the eternal light of the Astronomicon. Those remaining are admitted to the ranks of the Adeptus Astra Telepathica, deemed safe and strong enough to serve the Imperium. It can be a harsh and thankless life that breeds bitterness. The psyker's mind is constantly stressed and surrounded with fear and hatred. Each day can push them further from humanity and closer to the whispering promises of the ruinous powers. As part of the Adeptus Astra Telepathica, psykers have numerous areas where, even though they may not be welcome, their gifts are appreciated. Astropaths provide vital services, physically connecting worlds and void ships and allowing the Imperium to exist. They are often more than just transmitters and act as accomplished diviners and telepaths as well. Sanctioned psykers are also employed in Imperial Guard regiments or other Imperial forces. Such lives are often short and unforgiving, ending burnt out, fighting mental battles no other human can imagine, or executed for displaying any hint of possession or madness. This is the other fate that awaits for most psykers, regardless of their role in the Imperium: a slow decay of the mind, until the powers of the warp consume them, and they are turned against those they fought so hard to protect. Though psykers dominate the bulk of this agency, there are others. Numerous unblessed humans act as warders, perhaps on Terra or on the Black Ships, all watching for any signs of a psyker that has become a deadly threat. Worse still for psykers are their opposites, the even more unnatural psychic Untouchables. These soulless humans can negate psychic energies, and their mere nearby presence can bring a psyker to his knees with intense waves of debilitating pain. No matter their role, those from the Adeptus Astra Telepathica are always seen as outside the normal ranks of humanity, and must prove themselves with every action. And those were 40 facts on the Adeptus Astra Telepathica. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that gave you a nice brief overview of what it's like to be a psyker. Not a very good life. The thing that I found the most interesting is the fact that they don't live for too long. So if you are found to be capable of working with like an Inquisitor or even on like with a planetary governor, I feel like those types of jobs would be a lot more stressful because you're surrounded by non-psykers. So in a situation where like you're with a psyker, you're with an Inquisitor and you're a psyker, the Inquisitor must really like, number one, not really trust you and not like you. So the fact that if you die as a psyker, they see it as kind of like fulfilling the purpose of what the Inquisition wants them to do. But then on top of that, like they would constantly be asked to, put themselves in danger and do things that would just bring you to a close death. I think being a psyker and jumping into the Black Ships would be the best role, because not only are you surrounded by other psykers, but you are, I think there would be more sympathy in terms of who you work with, because they deal with psykers on a everyday basis. At the same time, I'm pretty sure there will be fear, because you're entering or you're filling an enclosed area with potentially deadly creatures, which is actually a really cool idea for a creepypasta now that I think about it. Like a black ship that actually gets destroyed by a rogue psyker that has been picked up. Even though I think the black ships are covered with blinks. So those blinks are the ones that we talked at the very end about. They basically just nullify the warp, which would be really painful, I guess, because if you're just a regular worker for the black ship and you're a psyker, you have psychic powers, you're just walking around in the corridors and you might turn a corner and then all of a sudden the field of a blink might come into contact with you and you just feel horrible pain. Basically, the life of a psyker must suck. Unless you are undetected, but then you run the risk of not being trained and destroying whoever's around you and whatnot. The one thing that kind of doesn't really match up is whenever you talk about Inquisitors, a lot of Inquisitors, especially in the books, have some type of like psychic power. And if that's the case, how did the psykers last that long without, or how did the Inquisitor last that long without having his psychic ability get destroyed? But they all kind of have to learn psychic defense mechanisms when they actually go up against psykers. In the Eisenhorn book, he like encounters another Inquisitor whose psychic abilities are way more powerful than he is, so he was like debilitated and everything. But again, like if you're an Inquisitor and you develop psychic powers, how is it that they're well protected and like a regular psyker is not? Someone who's like naturally born with that psychic power. Yeah, I wonder if you could just become a psyker. I'm going to look that up. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to share it with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, whatever social media you guys use. If you guys have any other suggestions for topics of Warhammer 40K, please comment down below. We read the comment section, and we base our videos off of your comment section, or off of your comments for suggestions. So definitely do that if you want to support us a little bit more. We have a Patreon. A simple $1 a month helps us create more videos for you guys. If you can't, we understand. Simply by liking, commenting, and sharing, you're telling YouTube that you like our content, and in return, you help us out. But with that said, I will talk to you guys soon. This was Gershwin with One Mind Syndicate signing out.